Well, I haven't gotten all the way through the Democratic debates yet. Just come home from work not too long ago. I don't get off till 11 o'clock at night. But I've been watching a few clips. And I got to one in particular, and that just put everything on major hold. One clip had enough things in it to drastically make me concerned about these Democratic debates. Obviously, if you've watched any of my other videos recently, you know I have a serious problem with what they did to Tulsi by not allowing Tulsi to get into these debates. Nonetheless, just in one clip on gun control in particular, and it was about a 15-minute clip, so I'm not going to even try to splice in with this video and make it drastically long. I may actually make a separate video later on using it and some fragments of it when I get through the entire debate. But let's just cover a few of the things that I heard. We've got Kamala Harris saying that she wants to use executive orders and executive action to come after her own, policy with gun reform and gun control. Executive action. Now, I find that ironic. The woman who will be the prosecutor president, who held people in jail beyond their sentence dates for cheap labor for the state of California, wasn't for legalizing marijuana until she decided to run for president in 2020. What a surprise. And now she wants to use executive actions to put out her agenda on gun reform and gun control. And Trump comes across as the man that wants to be the dictator, right? Now, you may have some valid points where Trump has said and did certain things that do sound concerning. I'll give you that. But if you're going to tell me that a woman who has the history that Kamala Harris has blatantly admits she's going to try to bypass the Constitution with executive action to come after Second Amendment rights, and that doesn't concern you as being a little bit authoritarian, well, you have some kind of double standard there, don't you? Okay? But that's just one of the things that I heard. Of course, the moderators brought up most people on this stage want voluntary, buyback programs. And when they got the Beto O'Rourke, they said, but you, Mr. O'Rourke, you want to take it a step farther. You want mandatory buyback programs. And he very loudly and boldly said, yes, they will have to give them back any weapon that was designed for the military. Ooh. Oh, Beto, I hate to tell you, son, the AR-15 was not designed for the military. It has similarities to the M16, and that is what was designed for the military. The M16 rifle, not the AR-15 rifle. Just because they're similar doesn't mean they're the same. But that's what happens when you're not very informed about guns at all. Isn't that right, Robert Francis O'Rourke? So, mandatory gun buyback programs. We're getting better and better here, aren't we? Then we trudge on just a little bit forward. We hear a little bit more from Cory Booker, yada, yada, yada. Eventually they get around to Amy Klobuchar. Of course, she's right in line. We need the reform on gun magazines and this and that. And then finally, we get around to who? Elizabeth Warren. Now, for those of you who watch some other YouTube channels, you'd probably know Elizabeth Warren's been making some news this week. First of all, she failed to give a clear answer as to why she's attacking Trump's constant military style, but yet she's been voting for his military budgets. Couldn't give a clear answer as to why she did that either. Well, isn't that just ironic? And what does Liz have to say tonight? Oh, that we can't just do this all at once, and it won't just be a one-time thing. We have to keep coming back at it, and back at it, and back at it. Now, one could take that different ways. One could say that we're not going to get AR-15s made illegal in one attempt, so we have to keep coming back. But it sounds a little bit different to me. It sounds like a nice little concealed way of saying, we're going to start here, but of course I know when we get rid of this, the problem's going to continue. So each time the problem keeps continuing, we just shift the goalpost each time for which one we want to make illegal the next time. As in, we have to keep coming back to it. Oh, the AR-15s are gone. They're using KS-12s. We got to do away with KS-12s. We got to do away with KS-12s. We can't have those on the street. My God, they were worse than the AR-15s were. I'm surprised they weren't using these to start with. That's where it's heading next. Once they get rid of those guns, and there's just more and more handguns, which there's already a load of handgun violence crimes, murders, suicides, you name it, they far outnumber those AR-15 deaths. Far more handgun deaths in a year. And when they finally get all those gone, they're going to say, oh. And you know that that's the case when you also look at some of the language being used, as in Beto O'Rourke calling them weapons of harm and death or something like that. Well, what gun can't be used for death? What gun, even little pea shooters, can be used to kill people? They make homemade guns that can kill people, Beto. So we're starting to get more and more of the clear message here. You just don't want the guns, period. And when you hear Liz kind of subliminally throwing that message out there, that, oh, we got to keep coming back to this issue. It's not going to be just a one-time thing. She's hiding the real message right in plain sight. We're going to start here, and we're going to end here. Start here, end here. Not start here and end here. Start here, end here. They're just not making it too brazen, but they're getting more and more brazen about it. And the evidence is starting to become irrefutable. They are getting very emboldened with this gun grab policy. Very emboldened. And it's only a matter of time until you start hearing the real agenda and the real message for the whole thing at the end of the day. And that is, they're going to want all the guns, period. And for those of you who think that I'm reading too much into this, for those of you who think I'm going off the rails, or for those of you who simply think, oh, what's the harm in that? Well, considering Liz is saying it and voting for Trump's military budgets, which haven't exactly pulled us out of a whole lot of these wars. And one thing I strongly disagreed with Trump on, and I mean strongly disagreed with Trump on, was him vetoing us not backing Saudi Arabia anymore in what's going on in Yemen. And she's voting for his military budgets, though. She has to know what he's doing with them. Why? Why, Liz? You know? So, someone who's throwing these messages out there, voting for Trump's military budgets, Kamala Harris wants to do this all by executive action. Oh, and I might add, Liz also threw one other little concerning note out there during that clip too. And that is doing away with the filibuster in the Senate. something that a lot of right-wing people who've been wanting to get their agenda through have been pushing for a long, long time, and they've been begging on their hands and knees, please, Mitch McConnell, please do away with the filibuster. We can't get anything passed, Mitch. We don't have a 60-vote majority, Mitch. Please, Mitch, please, do away with the filibuster, Mitch. Mitch wouldn't do it. Now, I'm not going to stand here and try to make Mitch McConnell out to be some hero, but he wouldn't do it. And what are the Democrats now pushing for? And Liz isn't the first one I've heard say this, but in the debate, Elizabeth Warren, who threw that little subliminal message, in my opinion, out there, and to get this done, we're going to do away with the filibuster so that all you have to have is a 51-vote majority to get the crap through. So, we're going to attack your rights. We're also going to change the rules of the Senate so that we can more easily take your rights away from you. Well, for those of you out there who don't mind having your rights taken because you see these shootings going on, instead of trying to address the real problem, which is mental health, first and foremost, and I'm perfectly fine with better background checks to keep Fruit Loop people from getting their hands on these guns. People who are just absolutely a bowl of honey nuts upstairs. Okay? I'm perfectly fine with good background checks that would keep guns from getting into these people's hands. You won't get much argument out of that on me. It's when you start restricting guns because you're framing them one way, and this crooked ass news media keeps harping about these guns when there's more dangerous guns perfectly legal on the market. They're not illegal. You want to make less dangerous guns illegal. That's how I know it's a slippery slope that you're coming after our rights. You keep harping on something that's not even the most dangerous thing on the market. Now, of course, they would probably argue me back by saying, we said assault weapons. We said assault weapons. And they do say that term a lot. But you'll notice the go-to has and is the AR-15. And they're trying to make it sound like it is just another name for an M16. It is not. They are not the same gun. Okay? One was created for the military, the other was not. Period. And the media just keeps harping on it. And the more they harp about it, the more they talk about it, the more people use it, because we have a world full of sick copycats. And the media is doing nothing but fueling that fire by continuing to talk about these sickos and giving them the fame and recognition they are desperate for. And that's why they keep buying those guns. That's why they keep using those guns. That's why they're not using the KS-12, the Saiga 12, the DP-12 even. They're not doing those things because they don't probably even know what the heck those guns are. Period. There's people that I've met that don't even realize they make shotguns you can put clips on now. But yet Elizabeth Warren wants to change the rules of the Senate and then subliminally tell you, hiding it right in plain sight, what she really wants to do, and that slowly over time just keep chipping away, taking more and more and more and more and more and more guns away. That's what she's after. And if you're okay with it, then I remind you of the old Ben Franklin quote. Anyone who would sacrifice their freedom and liberty for their safety shall have and deserve neither. You'll lose them both. That's what he's basically saying. You want to sacrifice your freedom for your safety, you won't have either one, you'll lose them both. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. When people stood idly by and was okay with their Fourth Amendment right being trampled on thanks to the NSA and the FISA courts for their safety, well, last time I checked, we still had quite a few terrorist attacks, and ooh, they were on FBI watch lists. Such as the Orlando nightclub shooting. FBI had been watching that guy, and he still got to carry out that shooting. So, say what you want. I'm sure there's a lot of people on the left who are going to have a night and day difference of opinion in regards to their stance on this issue, and they're going to be completely different from me, will not agree with me, whatever, to each their own. But I heard that clip, highly concerning to me. Highly concerning to me. The Democrats have been pushing to change the rules on the Senate for quite a while. And I'll guarantee you, they're saying they're going to do it to get their agenda through. But and let's not even mention, and they may have even brought this up in this debate. I haven't heard it yet, but they were talking about it for a long time, and that's even changing the rules on the Supreme Court. That last time that was tried was by FDR, and it fell on its ass miserably. And they're genuinely trying to do this stuff now. Genuinely. This is the reason why I don't want people to, misunderstand when I say the things I say about Tulsi and give the praises to Tulsi that I give to Tulsi and the few praises that I give to Bernie. I'm not a Democrat. Far from it. I have huge disagreements with the Democratic Party. To be fair, I've obviously made some disagreements I have with a lot of these neocon Republicans. And I'm not just capitalism solves everything either. That's why this is the independent report. Because I'm an independent. I'm not Republican, and I'm not Democrat. And to give Bernie Sanders his credit, at least he did say he is not for doing away with the filibuster after Liz made those statements. But nonetheless, if Trump had tried, actually, because Trump's been pushing for the removal of the filibuster too. Mitch McConnell hadn't done it. But how many Democrats have been bashing Trump for his take on that to do away with that filibuster? A lot of Republicans don't want to do it. That's what kills me. The Democrats are standing right there saying, yeah, if we get it, we're going to do it. And the Republicans are like, well, we don't think it should be done. Well, I'm inclined to agree with them. It shouldn't be done. It should not be done. But the Democrats are blatantly saying they're going to if they can. And meanwhile, if Trump had gotten it done, they would be the first people standing on their soapbox wagging their finger about how unconstitutional and unpatriotic and just how authoritarian it is. Meanwhile, they're getting more and more brazen with the hint, yeah, we're going to just keep taking more and more and more and more and more and more of your guns while we convince more and more and more and more people more and more and more and more guns need to be taken. That's why it's not a one-time issue, right, Liz? And so that we don't have much fight back, we're going to change the rules of the Senate so we can just pass this legislation through quick, fast, and in a hurry. Oh, what? Republicans want to fight back? Oh, 51 votes. Case closed. Sorry. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, I'm going to finish thumbing through this debate, covering more and more of it, but, man, everything I saw on stage tonight except out of the clips I've seen anyway. And I had to give Bernie credit where the credit was due. He didn't want to tamper with the Senate rules. I got a feeling that wouldn't stand so true for a lot of the other people on that stage. What I'm seeing so far out of most of those people, this is exactly why I wanted someone like Tulsi Gabbard in this debate. One of the only sensible voices in the room in the Democratic debates. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and like the video. Also, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop a comment in the comment box below. And also, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell so you'll stay up to date when we drop new videos and you'll get notifications of it. And also, please support us on Patreon. Funds are going to be used to grow and improve this channel so we can reach more and more people and spread the message that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell people. We hope you'll tune in next time.